To create these DIY upcycled containers, you can use soda bottles, Gatorade bottles, juice bottles, and you're gonna wanna cut it right underneath this thick bit of plastic that kind of makes the neck. Trying to make the cut as smooth and as flat as you can without digging into that plastic lip. So you're left with the lid and the thick piece of plastic underneath. And then you're gonna wanna sand the bottom to make it as smooth and flush as you can. I have tried melting it to make it smooth, but it does make a mess. Sanding is definitely the best option. And then you wanna take off the little plastic ring. Next, you wanna smooth out this inner edge from where it was sanded. Just get all the little plastic bits out of there. And depending on how many containers you want to make a few of those. And once they're sanded and you've gotten rid of some of that extra plastic, they need a nice wash. And make sure they dry very well. Once they've dried out, I like to put the lids back on. It just makes it a little easier to kind of glue everything together. And now there's a couple ways to configure and create little containers. The easiest one is just to glue 2 of them together. Then you'll stick them together plastic rim to plastic rim. Get them as even as you can. Set it aside to dry. Your next option is to take just the lid from one of the little containers and gluing it to the bottom. I find it best to put the glue on the lid versus the other piece. Then line it up as even as you can to the bottom. It's a little crooked. Set it aside to dry. The next option gives you a shallower container. You'll take one of the lids and you'll cut out just the top. And then you'll be gluing the inside of the lid part down onto the bottom of the little container piece. I find putting the glue on the little plastic bit is helpful as well, versus trying to put it on the container. And then as careful as you can, center it over the bottom. Set it aside to dry. You also have the option of gluing one of the pieces onto the top lid of one of the finished containers to create stacked containers. Once the glue has dried, you have little containers that you can fill full of whatever you want. They're also decently water resistant, if not waterproof. You just have to have the good enough glue. Great for fishing bits, maybe some beads, some pills even, maybe a few extra freedom pills. Close them up and you have some upcycled DIY waterproof containers that you can toss into your pack.